If you're Russia, put aside your American patriotism for a second. Just play this thought out, this thinking with me. You're Russia, you're China, you're Iran, and so forth. Don't you see this as an opportunity? Don't you say to yourself, my God, look at the good fortune we have here. Particularly if you've analyzed what took place in Afghanistan. Particularly if you analyze what they're doing with Iran bending over backwards while that regime is moving full speed ahead towards nukes. You're saying to yourselves, what a good fortune. If we don't act now during this guy's presidency, while that dope is Secretary of State and the other dope is Secretary of Defense and these generals are as weak as generals we've ever seen, we're going to miss our window of opportunity. That's what I worry about. That's what I worry about. I don't think these wars are concocted by, defense contractors. You hear people talk about that, or this is a blame America situation where you hear so-called conservatives, really pseudo-conservatives who sound like the left. Oh, it's America's fault. People who love Russia or love China who are paid off by China. No. America hasn't done a damn thing to deserve any of this, except we've installed a president who's incapable of defending us. All right, so let's take a look at this from NBC Today. Go.
This morning, the dangerous and escalating actions of Vladimir Putin along Ukraine's border could send thousands of American troops overseas. 8,500 U.S. soldiers and service members are now on heightened alert, ready to be sent to Europe to join a NATO response force.
Let me just add that that's true. And there's about 60,000 American troops in Europe. Probably there used to be many more, mostly in Germany, who are also on heightened alert. Not to go to war directly with the Russians, but I told you about these NATO countries that are on the border, and the fear is the Russians will cut through Ukraine and then start gobbling up little pieces of these other countries and saying, oh, this was always Russian, this was always Russian, this was always Russian. That's the fear now. Go ahead.
No final decision has been made to deploy them.
But President Biden did commit publicly to make U.S. troops available if the 30-nation NATO alliance needs more military help.
Well, we're going to fortify our NATO allies.
Monday, in the Situation Room, he met by video conference with 8 European leaders. Last week, the president said there were differences among leaders, but now he claims they're in full agreement.
I had a very, very, very good meeting, total unanimity with all the European leaders.
Pressure is building as Putin defies demands to pull back. As U.S. officials say Russia continues to build up troops near Ukraine, the Russian Ministry of Defense releasing video of its forces preparing readiness checks.
They have not only shown no signs of de-escalating, but they are in fact adding more force capability.
A disturbing sign that pushed NATO to ask member nations to do more.
I welcome that allies are stepping up.
The White House is putting the risks in stark terms.
We have been very clear, and the president has been direct, that military action by Russia could come at any time.
Vice President Harris traveling in Milwaukee with a warning for Putin.
I can't tell you what he's going to do, but we are prepared to take decisive action if he moves in an aggressive manner into Ukraine.
What do you think Putin's response is to his inner circle when he listens to her? Think he takes her seriously? Think he's worried about her? No, I don't think he's worried about her at all. I'll tell you, I'm also worried about NATO. Some of these countries are very weak, not just militarily, but in terms of resolve. So the timing couldn't be worse for the United States, I'll tell you. Go ahead.
Speaker Pelosi and Leader Schumer asked the White House to set up in-person briefings on Ukraine for all members of the House and Senate, and plans for that are moving forward.
Well, gee willikers. So that's the situation. We are not in the best position we should be. You have to look at us facing at least a two-front situation with communist China and fascistic Russia, with Xi and Putin, who seem to get along swimmingly. Our force structure is not what it needs to be. The Russians have been building up their military and their force structure, so have the Communist Chinese, in very significant ways. They're trained for war outside their own regional area. We have great troops too, despite what's being done to them, but things are being done to them that should not be done to them. They should be focused 100% on fighting and winning wars. I just don't think we're focused properly. You look at Congress today, what are they focused on? Destroying Donald Trump as a private citizen. Destroying our separation of powers and our constitutional construct, destroying our voting system, and spending more money and adding to inflation. How many floor debates have there been about what Russia's doing and what China's doing? How many demands have there been that the Biden administration reveal to Congress what they're negotiating with the Iranian regime? Nothing. You hear nothing about this. It's really too damn bad. But we're going to keep an eye on this. But to me, this could become an extremely grave situation. Not because we did anything wrong, not because defense contractors want war to make money, not even because Joe Biden wants war. It's because our enemy sees that Joe Biden is weak, that he's done provocative things that motivate them, and that the Democrats in Congress have harmed us too. As a footnote, I'll give you an example. 7 months ago, the United States Senate, on a bipartisan level, passed a bill to assist our companies that produce computer chips to produce more of them and to expand their facilities here on an emergency basis. That bill has been languishing in the House of Representatives under Nancy Pelosi for 7 months. And, you know, we need to become self-sufficient in a whole host of areas, pharmaceuticals, other materials, manufacturing. We're not going to be if this keeps up. Why would Pelosi and the Democrats do this? You need to read a book called Red-Handed by Peter Schweitzer, and you'll know why. Because so many of them are on the take. I'm just being honest with you.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.